What's up, everybody? You're very welcome along to tonight's late night agenda. I think it's Monday, isn't it? It's Monday, yeah? We're all agreed it is Monday. It's tough to keep track of the days lately. I hope we're all doing well. I hope the sun is shining wherever you are, but you know what? Actually, it might be, because spring's starting to come in, isn't today? Technically, is it the first day of spring today, if my memory's correct? I should know that, since it's the wedding anniversary, but I think it's the first day of spring. But anyway, I hope you're all well. Lovely to see you as always. I think Everton have gone 2-0 up in that game, haven't they? I'm just seeing a couple of people in the chat. I think Everton have gone 2-0 up against... No, it was ruled out, was it? 1-0 against Southampton still. Sorry, I had changed to 2. I thought there was 2, but it must have been ruled out for something. How are we? Loads of people in the chat. We will talk about centre-backs. We will talk about midfielders. You've seen Varane linked in the title. You've seen me talking about NEUHAUS, or I probably mispronounced that gentleman's name as well. But yeah, look, we'll go through it all. And we'll see what's real, what isn't real. And we'll try and get a consensus of who we could be looking at. But I think it's fair to say, from the names we'll be talking about today and probably in the next few days, centre-back and midfielders seem to be the names in the media a lot lately with regards to positions Liverpool are looking to target. And that's no surprise, really, is it? I mean, we didn't replace Dejan Lovren. We're not 100% sure what the situation will be with Ozan Kabak and Ben Davies moving forward. Obviously, Davies is here, but Kabak's on loan with an option to buy. And then we know that Gini Wijnaldum's most likely going to move on in the summer, and that's probably why we're seeing the links to NEUHAUS and Rodrigo de Paul and the likes as well, which makes sense. I mean, you can understand them. I'm doing good, buddy. How are you? Cole, how are you? Loads of lovely people in the chat as well. Are we linked with Neto? Do you know what, mate? I don't know if there's a media link to that, or if it's just all of us fans coming together and saying, wouldn't mind this fella. But there's certainly been a lot of talk, Mustafa, around Neto and Raphinha, of course, as well. And Harvey Barnes a little bit less such. Maybe that was just more me kind of hoping that might be a thing. But yeah, I mean, I think we are. I can't remember if I've seen any genuine media articles, Mustafa, about it, but we're definitely in the conversation, I think, for somebody in that position as well. The United fans that do a FIFA 21 career mode. I don't play computer games, buddy. I keep threatening to do it. I keep saying that I should, because we have a PS4, I think an Xbox One S, is that right? And a Switch in the house for the kids. But yeah, I don't play computer games, mate. Right, let's have a look around the Varane situation, shall we? That'll be the first one we tackle tonight, for those of you that are in already, and I do appreciate you being here, folks. Let's have a look. Again, all this information is widely available throughout different publications, so feel free to have a look into it for yourself. But we'll start with the Varane one. So it says, reports from Spain, this is from the Echo, by the way, reports from Spain claim Liverpool will aim to capitalise on Raphael Varane's stalling contract talks at Real Madrid by looking to sign him in the summer. Varane has entered the final 17 months of his contract at the Santiago Bernabeu and has increasingly been linked with a move away from Spain. And now AS, via the Mirror, claim Varane's future is more uncertain as talks over extending his deal have stalled. The report adds Madrid no longer see Varane as indispensable and will reportedly listen to offers of around €70 million, £61 million this summer. That's very interesting, because just before I came on, I was on Twitter scrolling through and I seen a United account saying that United are willing to pay up to £74 million. Now again, that's all just news and conjecture from media sources, but it seems to me that Real Madrid are in a point right now where they're looking to clear a lot of high earners and aging players off the book, so hence the links you've seen recently to Sergio Ramos and stuff like that as well. And it's no shock that Real Madrid are in a bit of financial peril at the minute. Haven't got the finances that they would have usually had for a club their size, and we know the situation at Barcelona as well. So yeah, I'm not shocked to start seeing these type of links around. I have no idea if there is genuine interest in Raphael Varane or not. Again, I'll leave that to you guys to decide for yourself. All I can really do is bring the links, have a conversation around it, and see if we can come to some type of consensus on it. And what else we got? Somebody's birthday, is there? Somebody's birthday? Whose birthday is it? Whoever's birthday it is, I'm missing this in the chat. Sorry. Happy birthday to you, me old mucker. I'm not sure whose birthday. Joshua, happy birthday, my man. Happy birthday. And yeah, happy anniversary to my wife as well. As I said to you guys last night, 14 years married today. Unfortunately, she's unwell, which is not great. So she's up having a lie down, a well-earned lie down and rest. So yeah, it's just me and you guys. So let's have a chat and see how we get on. What's your prediction for Everton Southampton? Well, I'm predicting at the minute it's 1-0 from the last I've checked, but look, Everton are in a good vein of form at the minute. You know, they're going to want to push on themselves, ourselves, Aston Villa, West Ham, Chelsea, all chasing a top 4 place, mate. So I'd imagine they'd probably see the game out. But Southampton are no mugs. We know they're a very good team as well. But it's going to be tight. And look, all we can do is concentrate on what we can take care of, which is our own results. We got the win against Sheffield United, which was great. Delighted for Curtis Jones. I'm still claiming Bobby Firmino got that second goal, even though, probably was gone wide. But great to see him get some confidence back as well. It's interesting, yeah. There's lots of good stuff coming up, and I'm trying to stay positive. I recorded a video earlier on with a Chelsea channel, and we were chatting about the game. Very nice guy, Craigo28, I think his name is on Twitter, if my memory's correct. And I just realised how nervous I was about that game coming up on Thursday, because I genuinely am. It's a big, big game for us this season. Thank you, RSH. I will indeed wish her a speedy recovery. Thanks, pal. Yeah, a win at last, mate. A win at last, mate. Wasn't it nice to smile yesterday? Wasn't it nice to go to bed last night with happy thoughts? After coming off the back of a win, and it looked Sheffield United may be bottom of the table, fair enough, but we were coming off the game in terrible form, and we thought we played all right in the first half. It was more frustration in the first half for me that we didn't put away some of those chances. Firmino missed a couple of gilt-edged ones, and Ramsdale made some good saves as well. So I was just hoping it wasn't one of those days where we bang, 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 and the keeper has a worldie and we can't score. But thankfully, got that goal a few minutes into the second half. Delighted for Curtis Jones. I said it all the way through. I thought he was our best player by a mile yesterday. And just happy to get the win and happy to move on to this Chelsea game now, having, seen Leicester drop some points, seen United and Chelsea draw. So, results kind of went in our favour, which has helped us back into this race. Now it's up to us on Thursday to try and get the job done against a very good Chelsea team that look completely different prospect under Thomas Tuchel. And it's going to be an interesting one, that's for sure. Is Craigo28 that guy, the red cheeks who always reacts to fans raging? That's the guy. Lovely fella. Really enjoyed the chat with him. And nice guy. I think that video is coming out on his channel tomorrow, so please do go and check it out. Kate says Werner doesn't scare her. Yeah, it's interestingly though, you look at the 11 that Thomas Tuchel chose to play against Manchester United, and you see on the bench Kai Havertz and Timo Werner, Christian Pulisic. So he went with that midfield of Jorginho and Kovacic, which seems to be his go-to at the minute. Interestingly as well, Marcus Alonso didn't play that game. He brought Ben Chilwell back in, whereas he had been playing Marcus Alonso down that left-hand side a bit recently. Callum Hudson-Odoi obviously has been turned into more of a wing-back in Thomas Tuchel's system. So it's certainly set up for an intriguing game on Thursday, and I don't know if you guys are as nervous as me, but I won't lie, I'm really nervous going into it. Do I have any info on the little lad? I don't know who the little lad is, Limo, mate. Sorry, I'm confused on that one, pal. Jack Maram, thank you for the super chat, mate. Very kind of you, mate. Lovely to see you win. Right, NEUHAUS is a quality player, not going to lie. So NEUHAUS is the midfielder from Borussia Mönchengladbach. I think the release clause is about 40 million, if my memory serves me correct. We've also been linked with Rodrigo de Paul from Udinese, another player who we've been linked with going back a couple of windows actually. Leeds tried to bring him in, I believe, in the last summer window. I think they came close to it but couldn't quite get it over the line. And another name that shocked me when I'd seen the links was Renato Sanchez, and that seems to be a name and a link that won't go away. So no doubt that young man broke through on the scene at Benfica and was highly touted as the next great thing to come out of Portugal, and Portugal are producing some phenomenal footballers over recent times. I mean, obviously right from Ronaldo down to our very own Diogo Jota, Neto. Look, the list is very long. So I'm not totally shocked, but obviously I'm not seeing whatever the manager is seeing, but then again I'm not the manager, so I trust whatever the gaffer and the scouts are seeing. But it is interesting to see that we are definitely looking to obviously bring in a replacement for Gini, because I still look at Jones as almost the Lallana replacement in the squad. I mean, not exactly in a positional sense. Jota isn't ill, he's injured. No, he's ill, Dave. He was ill. The manager came out and said he was ill. He was at the team hotel with the team. He fell ill the night before, and he wasn't available for the game, but he will be back for Thursday. So he was definitely ill, mate. I don't want Sanchez. Said Jill. What is my mom's name? Why would I tell you my mom? She's dead anyway, so why would I tell you my mother's name? That's a very odd question, mate. What the fuck are you inquiring about my mother for? Anyway, you're gone. My mother's name is none of your business, and she's dead anyway, so there you go. Anyway, bye-bye to you. Rabadan said, Varane, yes please, him and Mbappe will do nicely. Yeah, I mean, Mbappe would be the dream. Look, it is the dream, but we'll have to wait and see. I doubt it, but look, we'll have to wait and see. Richarlison or Firmino, I don't do those and ors, mate. You know, Richarlison's an Everton player, Firmino's a Liverpool player, and we have our player, they have their player. That's the way I look at it. I'm very good, thank you, Edison. It is a strange question. It's just another attempt at trolling, though, Kate, and just putting in the super chat, hoping he got an answer. I mean, I don't know what to say to that. Opinions on the amount of money City have to burn. Well, we can't compete with them on a financial front. You know, we know that their owners have a lot of money at their disposal, and they're trying to build City up into a super club with feeder clubs and sister clubs around the world. Obviously, I think in Australia, in New York, obviously, as we know as well. I think they've a couple of more clubs that I'm not aware of or can't think of off the top of my head. So, yeah, I suppose it depends on how our owners want to go about what we're doing, and you know, we have or are about to take on somebody, a new 10% shareholder, I suppose, or stakeholder in all of FSG's holdings in Red Arrow, which we spoke about the other day, and that will free up $750 million, so about £540 million, I think, for FSG. But that is theirs to do with as they please. They can take the money, put it in their back pocket. They can reinvest some in Liverpool or in the Red Sox or in Fenway Racing or whatever the hell they want to do. So, yeah, what would I think about the signing of Memphis Depay? He looks fairly nailed on to go to Barcelona, from what I've been reading, mate. But, you know, Barcelona's, I think their club was raided by the police today, am I right in saying that? Or some of the offices were raided by the police. Mumbai City, I think, as well, Brian. Yeah, that's a good shout. I think they've won there as well. George said Mbappe or Haaland, hope all is well. All is good, thank you, George. Thank you for that, my man. I'd love Mbappe. I'd love Haaland. I don't know if Liverpool would want to deal with Haaland's agent, Mino Raiola. Not somebody who I think, if I could be wrong, but I don't think we've dealt with much. I think maybe Balotelli or one or two more, but I'm not sure about that one. Rafinha would be a very good signing, said Judah. He would, mate. He's class. Rafinha's good. Again, Leeds record signing, I think 18 million from Ron, if my memory is correct, the summer before. Definitely is a good player, but the more I think about it, the more I probably think Neto would be a better buy. He has a bit of bite about him or something that I like, but both very good footballers. Predicted finish now, Leicester are in the bin. That's a bit optimistic, mate, or a bit, harsh on Leicester. I know they lost against Arsenal 3-1. I think Harvey Barnes picked up an injury, if my memory's correct, in that one as well, pal. I don't know where. Thursday for me is a lot. You know, it's going to have a big say in how we finish this season. If we can get a result against Chelsea on Thursday, puts us right back into the fight for that fourth spot. And, you know, maybe we can claw our way back up to the Leicesters, Manchester Uniteds and get into the fight for second or third. But, you know, we got to start by just looking after what we can take care of, and that is our own results. Any news on Thogden? Just waiting for a message, mate. I messaged him earlier on today, and he's just trying to find a time where we can get and record something. But I will be recording something with Thogden this week, hopefully, all going well. You know, busy man, obviously. I'm just trying to catch him when a time that suits us both. But yeah, it is in the plans that we do something together this week. Who's interested in Raphinha as well as us? Again, buddy, I don't know. I'm somebody that really only looks into Liverpool stuff with regards to transfers and that, so Captain Sal would prefer Neto. I mean, that's a good question. If we were to ask you guys in the chat right now, and you guys watching later on as well, I'd love to know your thoughts on this. Would you prefer Raphinha or Neto, or is there somebody else that, realistic, we all love Mbappe, we'd all have Mbappe in a heartbeat, but is there somebody in that bracket, let's say the 40 to 60 million bracket, if you want to call it that, or the 35 to 55 million bracket? Sam, you've put that comment in a load of times, buddy. I know who you're talking about, but I don't know enough about him to really get into a conversation about it, mate. But I appreciate you letting us know that we're linked with him. Curtis Jones played brilliantly, Addison, brilliantly. When will the preview for Thursday's game be out? Tomorrow night. I'm going to record it tomorrow, Aaron. I'm just waiting to hear back from Leon to see when he's free to record the Boyle Sports segment of it. And then that'll be out tomorrow after, tomorrow night's stream. I'll be doing a late night agenda tomorrow. I think Jack's going to be doing a watch along on Mundo Sporto of the Wolves Man City game. And then on Wednesday, I'll be doing a watch along over there, Palace and United. And I'll be doing, we'll be doing the podcast earlier on in the day. We're thinking about doing that one live, actually. Although I should probably have told the lads that first, shouldn't I? Right, Rafinha, Neto, happy anniversary, thank you, pal. Rafinha, David Neres. There's a name I haven't heard in a while. Obviously, he's still at Ajax, isn't he, Neres? He'd been linked to Everton in the past as well, actually. So Maximum's a good show. He's a quality footballer as well. Yeah, there's no shortage of really good, fast, pacey, direct, wide players in Europe right now, which is great. There's some. Gio Reyna is another good shout, Mustafa, somebody who I know the club are monitoring and have been looking at for a while. Good young talent there as well. Borussia Dortmund. Sarr from Watford, again somebody, Alan, who to my knowledge we tried to get before and were met with a price tag that we couldn't afford at the time, and that had to be paid a lot of it up front from my memory. I think Melissa Reddy wrote a piece on it, if I can remember that correctly. Alright, well, I'll pass on Patrick Bamford, thanks mate. He's nowhere near good enough to play for us, in my opinion. Neto, Rafinha or DePaul. DePaul would be more of an 8 mate rather than a pacey wide player, from my understanding of it. Not that I've seen a whole lot of Rodrigo DePaul, but yeah, he's another player who we have been linked to, of course. Udinese player. I think a buyout clause, or I think a deal of about 35 million would probably get him from what I read. Hope you and the family are well, Craig. Keep up the good work. Love you on the channel. Thank you, Chazza. Yeah, we're all good. Thank you, mate. All good. The young lad was back in school today for the first day, which was great. So he can, start to re-socialise and get to see other kids again. Harry Price, how are you, mate? Any news on Pats and Daka? No, nothing. Nothing new that I've seen anyway. There are a few stories, as I said. The Echo have a few stories today. One of them suggesting that we're looking at Issa Mondi again. Remember the Real Betis centre-back who we were linked to in January very briefly. And there's a story saying that his contract's up at the end of the season. So that's another person who apparently Liverpool are looking at, 29 years of age. What else have we got? There's another story that's doing the rounds from Sports Mold that suggests Liverpool are looking at Nikola Milenkovic, who plays for Fiorentina, looking to bring him in. Say he's contracted with them till June 2022. Again, the figure of about £30 million is mentioned. So, yeah, there you go. They're the latest stories that I've seen doing the rounds with regards to players anyway and incomings. Craig, will you use the buyback clause for Brewster? I don't know. And I'm very intrigued to see if that clause drops if they get relegated, or if the clause would still stay the same. But honestly, mate, I've no idea. We've got 3 years on that buyback clause anyway. Mutt said, I would have said Lanzini before, but he's very injury prone. Yeah, before he did his ACL, mate, I think before the last World Cup, we had been linked with him. That was a name that I'd seen us linked with a little bit. But I have to be honest and say I haven't really kept an eye on him since he's come back from that injury. But obviously West Ham doing really well at the minute. Craig, you seem flat. Am I alright? Yeah, I am. I'm good, mate. I'm just a bit tired, to be honest with you. But nah, I'm good. I'm good. A little bit all over the place today. It's been a crazy day. Just trying to get a lot of stuff done, mate. But no, I'm good, thank you. Anything on a camp, boss? No, nothing new, pal. Nothing new at all. I don't like that link myself, personally. I watched Lucas Ocampos when he was at Marseille, and I've seen bits and pieces of him at Sevilla, and I think that there's far better value to be had out there at the moment than Ocampos. What's my thoughts on the Luke Shaw situation? I don't really have any, mate. He's a United player. I don't really know anything specific about what you're talking about, but I don't know. What is this? Cody said, my wish for Liverpool FC this summer would be to get David Neres, Rafinha and Yves Bissouma. Bissouma is another player who, again, we had been linked with, obviously at Brighton at the minute. So, again, just want to keep an eye on. I don't have any definitives for you folks. I mean, we're a long way off the summer at this moment in time. Still a chance for some of the players to prove themselves. There's, there are questions around the likes of maybe Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, obviously Origi, Shaqiri, Matip, a few others as well in their futures. A few Grujic out on loan. Wilson, of course, as well. Koundé or Ben White, two great shouts this year. Sign me up for either of those two, mate. Jules Koundé, I think 22 years of age. Sevilla centre-back. I think his buyout clause is about, I don't know if it's 63 or 68 million, but it's something around that mark. And Ben White, again, you know my thoughts on him. I've always liked the idea of Ben White. Ian's been here since 9,000 subs. Thank you, man. Much, much, much appreciated. What about Real Madrid youngster Rodrigo? I've not seen that in Milo, mate, but again, if he's at Real Madrid, he's obviously a player. Like, you don't get to a club like Real Madrid without being able to play ball. What's their opinion on signing Varane? Honestly, I don't know. I haven't really allowed myself to think too strongly about it, Archie, because I don't know if it's genuine or if it's just Real Madrid trying to offload players and free up wages to try and bring in a new crop of younger players. Now, obviously, he wouldn't be as old as what's his face, Sergio Ramos, but again, I think a lot of this is Real Madrid kind of putting stuff out there, seeing to see if they can tempt somebody into making an offer for one of the players. Neuhaus would be a great partnership with Thiago, said Fahib. I'd have to take your word for it, mate. I've honestly not seen much of him. How about a Genie contract first? It looks like he's gone, mate. It looks like he's... I don't know whether he'll go to Barcelona as expected or elsewhere, but there seems to have been no news on a breakthrough there for Genie Wijnaldum in those contract talks. So, we can only assume that he'll move on. Do you think we should keep Shaqiri, and why? No, and because one, he's too injury prone, and two, I just don't think he's at the standard we need, to be honest. He can impact games. I'm not going to come on and say he's an awful footballer. He isn't, but I just don't think he's consistent enough. I don't think he'll ever be able to really force himself into contention for a starting 11 place. But it was worth the risk at the money that we got him for, don't get me wrong, and he's had some decent moments. I just think a lot of muscle strains and niggles, and that's the type of thing we need to be getting rid of, because we've had so many injuries that injury prone players like that, unfortunately, I don't think are for us at the minute. Rather go for Calais, Dakar, Neuhaus, Neto and a striker and focus on Varane. I'd be in that camp, probably Fahim. Yeah, I think that's a fair show. We need Aouar. I mean, look, Houssem Aouar is a quality footballer. Again, Arsenal tried really hard to get him in the last window. But dealing with Leon, we know can be tricky. Jean-Michel Aulas is a tricky customer to deal with. So, yeah, you wouldn't be getting that deal done without a bit of a headache, I'd suggest. But again, as a quality of footballer, yes, he's very good. What do I think of Kabak so far? Honestly, I think it's been a mixed bag, mate. I've seen some stuff where I've gone, okay, yep, I like the look of that. And then I've seen some other stuff where he looks nervy and he looks unsure. We got away with one with the own goal that he would have scored yesterday, only for correctly ruled out for offside in the build-up. Nervy moments again in the derby. You could see from the first long ball that he misjudged the flight of and put out. But then again, he is only 20 years of age and he is playing in a makeshift centre-back pairing. So it's very difficult to judge the guy on such a short period of time. So that's why I like the deal and the fact that we get to look at him right through to the end of the season without having to make a commitment to buying the guy or not. And it gives him an incentive as well, obviously, and of course he'll want to try and do as well as he can. It's a massive club for him to be at. Any news on Chris's nephew? Nothing new other than what we spoke about yesterday. The family have landed in Chicago ahead, a few more tests to run ahead of the potential operation, obviously the liver transplant. And again, if you can contribute in any way, share that link or anything, please do. Who would you bring in and sell? The selling thing, as I think Bailey, I've said a few times, mate, the same people, Matip. Do you know what? I probably would sell Oxlade-Chamberlain. It pains me to say it because I love the lad as a fella. I love the potential of what he could do, but I think maybe his best days might be behind him. And look, I'd love to be wrong on that. Oxlade-Chamberlain, I said, Origi, Shaqiri, Wilson, Grujic, Adrian's contract will be up. So they're kind of the ones I would see as possible outgoings. When would you play Davies? Well, he was injured, Michael, to be fair. That's why he wasn't in the squad. He had a slight knock, and I think he'll be out for Thursday as well, but the club haven't put a time frame on that. So yeah, we haven't got a chance to see anything of Davies yet, so it's very difficult to know, and I won't lie and say I watched him when he was at Preston, because I absolutely did not. But I know Darren McAnthony, who I think did work with him at Peterborough at one point, speaks highly of him and thinks he's a good centre-back. What else have we got? Goslin's from Atlanta will be a good sign, and he can play left midfield, left back and central midfield. By the way, to the trolls that are talking about my mother, keep sending me money. Keep doing it. Like, I'll happily sit here and let you send me money while I just, block your accounts. No problem whatsoever. Have at it. Keep sending the money. I appreciate all the money, so keep it coming. Lots of fringe players that need to be going. We need to rebuild in the summer. And by the way, I didn't get on with my mother either, so if you are trying to slag her off, you're kind of preaching to the fucking choir, mate, so, it doesn't bother me in the slightest, so you have at it. And again, I said you would need a shovel anyway, so if that's your thing, mate, I'm not into necrophilia myself, but each to their own. Only me that thinks we shouldn't sign Kabak on a permanent. I think it's too early to say for him. I think it's way too early to say. I'm from Drogheda, Liverpool's in my blood. You never walk along with a happy anniversary and love the content. Thank you, Jimmy. Appreciate that, mate. And lots of love to you and yours as well, pal. Would there be a danger of changing too much too soon? I don't think we're going to make wholesale changes. A lot of the players we're speaking about there, somber music, are probably fringe players. So, the wholesale changes would be if we were to be selling, say, Salah or, the spine of our team. What we should be looking to do is add the likes of another type of Diogo Jota, or players that will come in and really challenge to get into the first 11. Players that will believe that they can come in and get into the first 11. Peter Atkinson said Keita needs to go, too many injuries. I understand the frustration with Keita's injuries, I do, and again, like you, mate, I'm looking at the rest of the season to see if he can remain injury free, and if he can, then great, we push into next season. If the injuries persist, then there obviously is a conversation to be had about the viability of having a player who, I don't think any of us doubt the quality of his football, but he has been riddled with injuries since he's come to the club. Would I like to see Rice being Hendo's replacement? See, it's weird because Hendo isn't really a 6. He's just so good that he can play as a 6, he can play as an 8, and he can play anywhere across the midfield. So, I said before, the idea of Declan Rice is appealing if Fabinho was to stay at centre-back, but if Fabinho's to go back into his central defensive midfield position, then, we have that covered. And we have players that can drop in there like Hendo and cover if needs be. Rehan said, when the front three move on, Minamino, Jota and Rafinha should be the next 3 for us. Minamino, I'm still confused, by the way. I mean, I don't know what his future is. I don't know if he has a future at the club or not. The idea of going to Southampton in theory makes sense because it's a similar style, and I hope that we see him back, and I hope that he lights up the Premier League for the rest of the season with Southampton, but it is I'm unsure of. I genuinely don't know what's going to happen there. Where do you rank Curtis Jones among the top youngsters in the Premier League? Again, I don't like to compare, mate, because I've said this before, there's a lot of talented young English players coming through at the minute, which, if you're Gareth Southgate, would make you very happy, but he's our young talented player, so, let's just let him blossom, not put too much pressure on his shoulders. The lad's a baller, we can see it, so, just allow him to keep challenging, keep trying to get his place in that midfield, and, I've nothing but admiration for Curtis Jones. He looks like a quality player. What's your opinions on Klopp's links with the Germany team? Again, I think this relates back to a Bild article, if I'm right, Stephen Porter. And again, thank you for the super chat, mate. I think it goes back to an article in Bild that suggested that he's like 2/3 likely to join the German national team after 2022 season. I think when Jogi Löw's contract is up 6 months later, so I think that would see him, according to them, leave Liverpool, take a 6-month break, and then take the German national team job. He's contracted to us to 2024, and I hope he's here till 2024. So I really do. I love the man, and he's I can't think of anybody else I'd want to come in to replace him. Would you do a straight swap Salah for Haaland? Well, it's pointless conversation because one, Salah would want to go to Dortmund at this point in his career, and two, it's just not going to happen. So no point in having conversations about hypotheticals. Neuhaus over Genie. I haven't seen enough of Neuhaus, Lewis, to give you an honest answer, my man. I'm not going to lie, I haven't watched much of him. Am I excited about Harvey Elliott? Yes, I really am. It's good to see him doing so well under Tony Mowbray at Blackburn, and yeah, he is a level above. So yeah, absolutely. I'm very excited about seeing him back. Yeah, and I think, again, not to put too much pressure on him because he's a young lad, but he is a red through and through, massive Liverpool fan, and I think he's another one that we'll enjoy watching over the next few years. Patrick, thank you for the super chat, buddy. Said if Fabinho is moved back to midfield, who should be dropped between Gini, Curtis, and Thiago? Again, I wouldn't go with the phrase "who's to be dropped" because Klopp will set the midfield up depending on who we're playing. So if we want to be a bit more attack minded, then we'll have two more attack minded midfielders with that one holding midfielder. If we want to try and wrestle the battle in midfield, then maybe we have two deeper line midfielders in there. So I think it's horses for courses, and it'll be a different player for a different game. So I think it'll depend on the opposition, mate, more than anything, rather than who will be dropped or not. But like Gini most likely going to be gone at the end of the season anyway, so that removes him from that equation. What's my opinion on Foden? Quality, absolute quality, mate. I mean, to say anything else would be just me being disingenuous. He's had to bide his time at Manchester City, obviously, with Silva there before him again, but Guardiola seems to have managed him very well, and he is a talented player. I didn't like your snidey comment saying he's not fit, Jones isn't fit to lace his boots. Again, you're just trying to turn players on people on each other. Why not just appreciate they're both good footballers? You're obviously a City fan. Enjoy Phil Foden, nothing wrong with that. We're Liverpool fans. We're happy to see Curtis Jones coming through. There's no need to make snidey comparisons that are not really beneficial to any of us. What else is there? Henderson will play in the mid. Yeah, he would. Of course he would. I agree. Sorry, if I meant if we could sell to buy Haaland, would you rather Salah or Haaland? Again, I like the idea of putting Mohamed Salah through the centre if he's staying at Liverpool, which we all hope that he does. And I like the idea that of bringing in a pacey wide player. So, hence the reason I haven't spoken much about Haaland. Nobody will deny the lad's quality. Bangs in goals for fun. He's going to have a huge career no matter where he goes. But I don't think it'll be Liverpool, to be honest with you. I really don't. So that's why I kept saying I don't think it's a valid conversation to be had. I genuinely don't think he'll come to Liverpool. What else we guess? Somebody asking something about the MLS there, were they? I do watch the MLS, yeah, absolutely. I have a few MLS jerseys. I have an LAFC one. I have a Timberwolves one. I have, what other ones do I have? A Toronto one. I have an Orlando one. I have 4 or 5 MLS shirts. I don't know the league well enough to spot the best players in it, mate, because I just watch the games that are televised on Sky when they're on. Joseph Martinez at Atlanta obviously knows where the goal is, but then again I expected the guy who went from Atlanta to Newcastle, what's his name again? Almiron. I expected him to adjust a bit quicker because I'd seen him play for Atlanta in the MLS and thought he was very, very good. So there are definitely some talented players coming through, and the MLS is growing year on year, and the quality of the football is growing year on year as well. It's good to see, because I know from my own experience going over to America over the years that each time I go back, football seems to be getting bigger and bigger and bigger over there, which is great for our sport. Would I like Varane next to Virgil? It wouldn't be top of my list, I won't lie. For the money he would cost, I'd rather get somebody like Koundé or Ben White or, probably Koundé, if I'm being honest. I think age-wise as well would be the right bracket. What's your opinion on how well Stevie G is doing at Rangers? Do you see any similarities in their style of play? I don't watch Scottish football, Richard. I'll be honest about that. The job he's doing is obviously fantastic. I mean, they're coasting to the title. I think this would have been Celtic's 10th, if I'm right in saying that. I don't know. I don't watch Scottish football. So he's doing really well there. Got them into the last 16 of the Europa League as well. So, you have to say he's doing a good job. What do you think about Lucas Ocampos being linked? I've said it before. I don't think he's up to the standard. From what I've seen of him at Marseille and then at Sevilla, he's not somebody who I'd watch and go, oh, I like the look of him. It wouldn't. I think there's better value out there in the market. Salah was named in Egypt's Olympic squad. Yeah, I've seen that earlier on. So there seems to be some maybe debate about club v country here on this one. I'm trying to play this from memory, but I don't think, and I could be wrong, I'm happy to be corrected on this, but I don't think that Liverpool have to release him for the Olympics because it's not a full national team thing. Like, he has to be released for Egypt's national games. Now, of course, if Mo wants to go to the World or to the Olympics, you don't want to be undermining him either. So it's a delicate balance there. But yeah, I have seen the story, and look, we'll wait and see how it plays out. Do you think we have a chance in the Champions League? Of course we do. Are you talking about City? Yeah, of course you do. You have a chance, we have a chance, PSG have a chance. Anyone who gets into the last 8 will have a chance. You're 5 games away from lifting that trophy then. Craig, apparently the Calais car guy is class. That's the guy from Marseille who, again, we tried to sign in the January window. The story goes he was sitting there waiting with a private jet for that deal to be done, and we couldn't agree a deal, or Marseille couldn't get somebody in to replace him in time, so he stayed there, which, don't rule out potentially Liverpool going back there then in the summer, particularly because we aren't committed to buying Kabak at this moment in time, so you can't rule him out in the future. I think you're trying to say Kanade. Is it Addison from Leipzig? A lot of people are saying to me that he has a bit of a sketchy injury record as well. We know obviously Upamecano was joining in Bayern Munich, that's confirmed, but from people that watch a lot of Leipzig said to me that Kanade can be injury prone as well, albeit he's still only 22 years of age, something like that. Agent situation, Haaland or Mbappe at LFC? I prefer Mbappe every day of the week at Liverpool. I told you I'm a sucker for a pacey wide forward who runs directly at defenders, so I'd push Mo through the centre and have Kylian Mbappe, please, if I could have the option. Being realistic, who would you love Liverpool to sign? I like the idea of Pedro Neto. I like the idea of Rafinha. The midfielders we've been linked with, I honestly, Renato Sanchez, I haven't been following him since he's gone to France, so I don't know how he's been playing. Rodrigo de Paul is a decent footballer from the bits I've seen of him. The guy who we've been linked with from Borussia Mönchengladbach, honestly haven't got a Scooby-Doo about. Haven't seen any of his games. I'm going to start paying more attention now. Who do you think are getting relegated? I think it looks like Sheffield United and West Brom are gone, and then it's going to be a matter of, is it going to be Fulham? Is it going to be Brighton? Is it going to be Newcastle? And look, it's close. I mean, Scott Parker is getting fight and getting those Fulham players to really work hard for him. I just think they lack the quality for the Premier League, but you can't rule out them staying up. I hope Brighton don't go down. They've been very unlucky. I mean, how many shots have they had on goal recently? Some ridiculous amount with minimal return. So Basuma is somebody who we've been watching live for Bird 18, 100%. Again, it's been well documented in the media as well that Yves Basuma is somebody who Liverpool have been keeping track of. Do you think we should sign De Jong in a swap deal? For who? I mean, you said De Jong in a swap deal, but you haven't said who for. Now, I doubt Barca will want to be moving on the younger players, the younger quality players like that. It's the high earners who are, getting towards the latter part of their careers there that you'd probably want to be moving on if you're at Barcelona. You wouldn't want to be losing the good young players. But yeah, look, I love De Jong. He's a quality player. Houssem Mouar again, yeah, I'd have no issues bringing him in. I think he's another quality footballer. The only problem would be striking a deal with Lyon because, as I said before, Jean-Michel Aulas, the chairman, is a very difficult negotiator. Mustafa said the boy NEUHAUS knows how to play. I'll have to take your word for that, pal. I see, you'll always get honesty from me on here. If I don't know about somebody, I won't lie. The young swap for Wijnaldum, that makes no sense on so many different levels. One, they're getting Wijnaldum for free, so we don't need or can't swap anything. Genie is perfectly within his rights now to sign a contract for any club outside of England and not even have to tell Liverpool because he's in the last 6 months of his deal, so there'd be no swap there. So that wouldn't happen. Would I have Dubravka as a backup keeper? Christ, no. Far too many mistakes from when I've watched them play. When will Jota be back? Thursday. He was fit for the game, but he was ill, unfortunately, Kieran, which meant he was ruled out of that game. But he is fit. I think hopefully Klopp said Fabinho, himself, Keita, and I'm going to get this right. Fabinho, Alisson and Keita and Jota should all be available and ready to go then. We know Keita got some minutes, obviously, against Sheffield United, but Klopp said he expects those other three to be in the squad for the game on Thursday against Chelsea, which is a huge game. Do you think you need investment to improve your team? Well, that potential investment is coming, mate. There was a deal, Liverpool fans probably know this, but FSG have sold off a 10% stake. That's going to be confirmed in the next 6 weeks to Jerry Cardinal and his investment, Red Arrow Corp, I think it is called, for $750 million. Now, that doesn't mean Liverpool are going to see that money. That doesn't mean the Red Sox are going to see that money. It just means that FSG have freed up $750 million. They can do with that as they please. If they want to reinvest some of it into either of the squads, whether that be Liverpool's or the Red Sox, that's up to them. So I hope they do, obviously. Lee, how are you, mate? Lovely to see you in. Personally, I'd like Nick Pope as a backup. I want Caoimhín Kelleher as the backup, mate. So I actually believe in Caoimhín Kelleher as a keeper. I think that he is good enough to come in and be a backup. But the problem is he's also a young keeper that needs game time. So how do you manage that properly? And obviously he has ambitions to become the Irish number one as well. What else have we got? I don't know. Kevin Sheck, mate. No idea who he is. Sorry, Tom. I haven't seen him at Leon, so I can't give you an answer on that one. Do we need to change owner? Again, got to be careful what we wish for there, mate. We're a club that's not riddled with debt or anything like that. We're a club that has been run very financially prudently. And again, depending on who comes in to buy the club, somebody could come in and buy it with a leverage buyout, which basically means that you take a mortgage out on the value of the club against the club, which leaves you with pretty heavy repayments. Our owners at the minute haven't taken a penny, to my knowledge, from the club other than this 10% stake they're selling off. So yes, we can have better from the owners on some things, but in other ways we could have much worse owners as well. So it's this summer is going to play an important part for me about how they go about trying to help Klopp build his second team and address some of the issues we have. But I don't mean to use Enar's term, but we do need to be a bit careful what we wish for as well. We don't want just an investment fund or something coming in that's only interested in the bottom line, only interested in taking money out of the club, because we haven't got the worst owners in the world, let's be honest. I think after the Sheffield game, Liverpool might have some of their old confidence back. I hope so, mate. I really, really do. Kate Klopp said in his Premier League conference that Kelleher is the number 2 now, Adrian number 3. Good. He should be as well. He's a better goalkeeper than Adrian, so I agree with that. And good to hear it, Kate. What do I think Liverpool's starting 11 will be next season? No idea, because I don't know what the transfers will be. So, I can name you the spine of the squad that we all know will be there. Robbo, Alisson, Trent, Van Dijk, maybe a different centre-back partner, maybe Gomez, midfield, Thiago, Fabinho, Henderson, maybe somebody else, don't know. And then up front, depending on if we bring in another white player. So it's probably going to be very similar, mate. Craig, James, Justin, torn ACL, Harvey Barnes, potentially 6 to 10 week injury, plus the rest of the team's injury problem we have. Do you think you can still get top 4? Yes, you've enough cushion there, Lee, that you should be able to see that through, buddy. I was genuinely shocked to see that you lost to Arsenal. When I seen that result, I was taken back by it, because I've been very impressed by Leicester. You know that. I've told you that, mate, when we've spoken. A lot of good players at the club. I rate your manager. I said this before. I just think the Liverpool job came too early for him. But I don't want to say that you have form for dropping away, because I think that's disingenuous. But I'll be interested to see how you guys deal with it. I mean, our injury situation is ridiculous as well, but you've got a decent squad, Lee, and obviously I don't want Liverpool to lose out on top 4, but if we can both get in there, that would be happy enough with that. Did you hear what Curtis Jones said about his goal? Yes, he dedicated it to Alisson and his family, and I seen Alisson's wife quote tweeted it, "You'll never walk alone" as well, which was lovely to see. And look, we're all right behind Alisson and his family, and all our thoughts and best wishes. And of course, Glenn Roeder passed away yesterday as well, another good football man, so all our thoughts are with him and his family as well, or his family I should say, excuse me. There's been a lot of losses lately. It's been a tough time. Mbappe's torn between Barca, Real and LFC. Well, Barca aren't even in that conversation, so you can throw that in the bin straight away, and nor is he torn in any way. He's torn between Real and LFC, not Barcelona. They're not even in the equation, mate, in that conversation. His idol is Zinedine Zidane, so wanting to go to Real Madrid is no shock to me. But can they afford the package to bring him in? I don't know. Can we? I don't know either, to be honest with you. Patson Daka from Salzburg may be a good signing. Yeah, and again, relatively cheap as well, mate. Probably 30 million will get you Patson Daka. As you said, we have good relations with Salzburg and with the Red Bull brand of clubs as well. Keita came through the ranks, Mane came through the ranks, as you said. Obviously, we went in and got Takumi Minamino from them as well, so there is an open dialogue there between the clubs, and I think Jesse Marsch speaks very highly of him. I love Sabitzer from Leipzig, baller. They bring to a lot of good players at Leipzig, to be fair, a lot of them. Did I hear Barca's former president got arrested? I did see their offices were raided. And Connor said something about the guy getting arrested, but I don't know the ins and outs of it. I just had a quick glance of an article earlier on. What do I think? Who do I think will win the Champions League? It's impossible to say. You literally asked me, could you guys win it a few minutes ago, mate? And I answered you by saying all the clubs that I think could win it. So I can't really go back over the same question again. Dybala, not getting a lot of game time at the minute at Juventus from what I've seen, the times I've tuned in and watched a few of their games or checked out the results on the OneFootball app. I'd have him, yeah. I think Dybala is a quality player. Varane is perfect fit for us. His pace, high line. Can anyone tell me how old Varane is, by the way? I don't know how old he is off the top of my head. I'm guessing he's probably about 27, 26, 27. If you want to look at the rumours, mate, just go onto the Echo. They're all there. We basically talked about midfielders. We talked about the guy NEUHAUS. We talked about a couple of centre-back options as well. Nothing earth-shattering. Nothing really breaking Kieran, mate. Nothing that you've missed out on, really. 27, cool. Thank you. So, yeah, that's... Okay, yeah, that's prime years there. I don't know, though. It doesn't seem a very... When you have Van Dijk there and you've gone out and you've brought in that world-class centre-back of a similar age bracket at the time, I would be more likely to think that somebody like Jules Koundé, who is 22 years of age and can learn and is already playing at a good level, would be more likely than an ageing centre-back. I say ageing, look, that's very unfair. He still has probably 6 or 7 years left at the top level, but I'd be surprised if that's the way that the way our owners went about things if we went in for another one, like another fully established one like that. No, I don't think we'll get Haaland, Joy. I don't. I just, for a couple of reasons. Again, if I was advising young Haaland, I'd tell him to stay put till 2022 at Dortmund as well when that release clause of his kicks in, because he's at a good club, playing Champions League football, playing at a high level, playing with good players around him. So yeah, I'd tell him to stay there for another year at least. Koundé, I think, has a release clause of it's either 63 or 68 million pound that I read the other day, Ross, but I can't remember exactly which one it is off the top of my head. Where would Gomez go if Varane came in? Again, we should have 4 top quality centre backs. Doesn't matter who plays. Whoever plays is because they deserve to start. So I imagine Matip is going to go, and so then we only really have Van Dijk, Gomez, Ben Davies. We haven't signed Ozan Kabak, so we're not committed to that deal. We obviously have some young centre-backs, coming through. Billy Comedio at the club. Sepp van den Berg went out on loan, so we do need a centre-back one way or the other. 68 million, thank you, mate. What else is there? Shadow Company said get rid of Oxlade-Chamberlain, Takumi Minamino, Matip, Shaqiri, Origi to raise money. It's easy for us to sit here and say get rid of them, mate, but there has to be willing buyers there, and we're in a COVID world now where a lot of these financial deals will be tricky. So I like Matip as well, Kieran. He's quality, but he's made a candy floss. So, he's injured far too often, but he's a very good centre back. Right, ladies and gentlemen, that's I'm going to do a couple more questions or a couple more comments, and then I'm going to head off and see if the missus needs that, because as I said, it is her anniversary and she is unfortunately unwell, so I'm just going to make sure she's okay. I'll be back tomorrow for another late night agenda, and I think we're doing... Let me just get the schedule up, sorry. I'll have the schedule done out here. I'll be doing the predictions tomorrow, at... They'll be going out after the late night agenda. So the preview for the Chelsea game will be going out tomorrow night after the late night agenda. So I'll be on at 8:30 again tomorrow to go through anything that you guys want to ask or anything that's been in the news over the past 24 hours. Again, as I always say to you all, look after yourselves, be well, be kind to other people, and thank you for coming in. Thank you for giving up your time as always. Hit that subscribe button, drop a like on the video, let the world know about us, and yeah, thank you for your time. Lots of love to you all. Up the Reds, and hopefully